I went to the biggest wrestling show in history, and this is how it went. I have just got back from AEW's All In 2023 at Wembley Stadium. Over 80,000 people packed into the arena, and it was the biggest selling ticketed wrestling show in history. What a show it was to go live, and I'm going to break it down for you bit by bit, and I'm going to start with Wembley Stadium as a whole. So sometimes when you go to these massive shows, it takes you a long time to get in. There's huge queues outside, but Wembley Stadium, no problem. There was enough gates open, there was enough staff on hand, the ticketing scanners worked perfectly. It went very smooth. Straight in there, straight into our seats. Now, I opted for the cheapest ticket option for this show, which was less than £28. So for you Americans watching this, that's maybe about $38, something like that. An absolute bargain to get into a show of this caliber. Now, as you can see, this was kind of the view from my seat. Not the best view, but for the price, wow. What a bargain. We kicked off the pre-show with Jeff Jarrett coming down to the ring. He interrupted Tony Schiavone, who was doing this huge spiel about, wow, it's so great to be in the UK. And then Jeff Jarrett comes down, he's like, hey, you get out of the ring, slap notes, and hey, there's nothing to do with Britain. This is all based off the strength of American pro wrestling, American pro wrestlers, and American promoters like my family. And then out comes the Big Show. Well, he's no longer the Big Show, he's named Paul White, and he has got Grado by his side. Now, Grado is a Scottish wrestler, and he was doing loads of the promotion work with Jeff Jarrett for this event, which included Jeff Jarrett nailing him with a guitar. So what happens? Boom, Grado gets his revenge in front of 90,000 seats, but not quite 90,000 people. I would say about that time, there's probably about 60,000 people in the arena. This is right at the start of the pre-show. Bam! He nails him with a guitar. Nice moment to kick off the show. After that, we moved on to the first match of the night, and it was Aussie Open versus MJF and Adam Cole. Now, this was a really bizarre way to set up the show because they were due to face each other, Cole and MJF, in the main event of the evening. But to kick off the pre-show with the first match being Aussie Open versus MJF and Adam Cole for the ROH tag team titles, we thought there was going to be some kind of wizardry going on. There's going to be something to set up the main event, and it did set up the main event, but not in the way that a lot of people expected it. A lot of people expected it to turn one way or the other, but that's not what happened in this match. What happened in this match was they won the titles. They cemented their friendship by winning the titles. It was a decent match. I spent most of it kind of watching and waiting for something to happen, some kind of turn. And when they didn't do it, it surprised me, to be honest with you. Decent match all in all. I don't really know much about Aussie Open, but I liked what they were doing there, kind of building that friendship between MJF and Adam Cole. Next up, we had an FTW title match as Hook, the son of Taz, who started the FTW title back in the ECW days, faced off against Jungle Boy Jack Perry, son of Luke Perry, who was also really famous in the 90s, way more famous than Taz, to be honest with you. So it's a very interesting dynamic if you've got two people who were like the sons of people that we watched in the 90s. We watched them growing up in the 90s, so that was a very interesting kind of side story. Obviously, Jack Perry was the FTW champion going into it. I think it might have been no holds barred rules as well. And that match, I'm telling you right now, I really enjoyed it. I wasn't really expecting much from it, but Hook, he's got this massive kind of, you know, underground kind of following. He's a bit of like a anti-hero kind of thing, you might say. Anti-hero might be the kind of wrong word, but he's got like a cult following. That's what I'm kind of getting at here. And against him was Jack Perry, first of all, the fact that he doesn't come down with I don't like that. I love that song. I loved it, but obviously he's a bad guy, so he can't come down to that. And he comes into the arena in like this car, right? And then the way they destroyed this car, they dented the roof of the car. I think Jack Perry got slammed through the windshield of the car, and apparently there was some kind of incident between Jack Perry and a camera where Jack Perry said something down the camera because CM Punk had asked him not to do this specific thing, and then Jack Perry said something like "Cry me a river" or something like that. So then backstage after the match, which by the way, Hook won the match. I really enjoyed the match. I thought it was a good solid match, especially for the pre-show. Apparently CM Punk choked out Jack Perry backstage. Like, what a mad way to start the show, especially considering what was next. And what was next was the first match on the card, CM Punk versus Samoa Joe for the real AEW Championship, kicking off the show with a really, really good match. I really enjoyed this. I love the dynamic that these two have got together. I love the fake outs about, jumping off the rope and Samoa Joe's going to walk away, but then Punk figures it out, does the Hurricane Rana, and then he goes to jumping him outside, and then Samoa Joe walks away. Really liked all that stuff. I also liked how CM Punk in the match, he did a lot of the John Cena stuff, then he did the Hogan stuff, like with the ear cupping and the leg drop. Really, really good match. Really, really enjoyed it. Looking forward to watching this one back in the coming days. Next up was a 6-man tag team match, 3 versus 3. Takeshita, Juice Robinson, Jay White versus Kenny Omega, Adam Page, and Kota Ibushi. Now, first of all, I love seeing the Golden Lovers back together. Ibushi and Omega, that was brilliant. But a lot of people were complaining about this. So here's a little bit of the peek behind the curtain for those of you who didn't come. I was in a pizza shop after the show, and there was a Scottish guy there, and he had sat like third row. He spent like 400 quid on a ticket. Now, bear in mind, I spent less than 30 on my ticket. I thought it was a really good show. This guy was complaining, saying, oh, they didn't even have Kenny Omega in a singles match. They wasted him in a 6-man title match. You could look at it like that if you wanted to. I didn't really look at it like that because I love the fact that they put the Golden Lovers back together, and you got to kind of fit so many people onto this massive, massive card. If you had only singles matches, you'd get, what, maybe 18 people on the card? You got 6 just in this match. So it was a nice way to kind of put everyone together, and not everyone can have a singles match. Sure, Kenny Omega is one of the top stars, not only in the company, but in the industry. But, hey, it is what it is. This match, it lost me a little bit. Like, it was good, don't get me wrong, it was good. But, like, these 6-man matches, because we were so far away from the ring, this is part of the issue I had with the show, is because I spent only £30 and I got the cheap ticket. I wish I was in the 100 section. That for me is the perfect place to sit in a stadium show. So if you're watching this and you're thinking of going to ones in the future, that's what I'd recommend. Sit in the 100 section because it's not as expensive as the floor seats, but it's much better view than the floor seats. So I'd really, really recommend sitting there. This, a little bit far away, a little bit of disengaged from the action, especially when it's a 6-man, especially when there's so many moving pieces. It was an okay match, but I could really leave this one behind. So yeah, as much as I disagree with that guy saying it's a waste of Omega, yeah, I could have also left it. Next up, we had FTR versus the Young Bucks in what is a feud that has been going on for years and years and years, since before they were even in the same company. I thought this match was absolutely brilliant. This was the tag team version of, those Rock versus Austin matches where they would do each other's finishes on each other and stuff like that. That was the tag team version of this, and it all really fit into place, because sometimes you see it where they do each other's finishes and signature moves and stuff like that, and you feel like, it's a little bit too much. Whereas in this one, it felt like it fit into place. There was one issue for me where it's an issue that AEW has in general, where there's too many false finishes, there's too many major moves that should really lead to an ending of a match that kind of takes me out of it a little bit, because it's like, I do stand-up comedy, right? And it's like shock humor. If you're only doing shock humor, it's this, it's this, it's the dirty thing you didn't expect. It loses all meaning. So when you're only trying to throw me, I'm kind of just like bored of the false finishes, and I'm a little bit like, come on, just get to it, get to the ending already. Like, give me a false finish where it ends. They get out of it in a way that makes sense, not just in a way that like you just keep on doing it for the sake of it, which I kind of feel like happens sometimes with AEW, and it's a little bit of too self-congratulatory and that kind of thing. But don't get me wrong, I really, really enjoyed this match, but that was the only thing from this match that I thought took away from it. But besides that, really, really enjoyed it, and this is another match that I'm really, really looking forward to. Looking forward to seeing again, I was supposed to say then anyway. On to Stadium Stampede. Now, I'm not even going to tell you all the members of this match, because I've forgotten. I can't even keep these 10 names in my head. But within the match, there was Ambrose, Cesaro, Yuya, Kingston, people like that, basically. Was LAX in it, or whatever they call nowadays, like that tag team who like are very similar to LAX, like Ortiz and Thingy. I feel like they were in it as well. Either way, this match, I'll be completely honest with you, as fun as it is to watch it on TV, it's a bit of a waste when you're in person, because when you're in person there's so much going on, you can't really follow everything, so it ends up being a little bit like, oh, I'm actually looking forward to this one to end because I just want to see the ending, because I can't really keep up with everything that's going on. And you don't want to be sat in the stadium just watching the big screens. Like, you end up doing that a little bit, especially when you're far away from the action, so you don't want to do it where there's a full match like that. So yeah, this one, it's okay, it's great for the TV audience, but I'll be honest with you, if you ever go to an AEW show where they do Stadium Stampede, you're probably going to hate it, unless they come right by you, you know, you get a quick selfie with them or something like that, and it's a real buzz to see the fighting happening right in front of you. I don't think it's the kind of thing that you're going to enjoy seeing live. Next up was the AEW Women's Championship match. Hikaru Shida defended against Toni Storm, one of my favourites, Britt Baker and Saraya. Now this one, it was all set up, wasn't it? It was all set up for the good glory moment. But I want to rewind you a little bit to about a week ago. I was listening to one of my favourite podcasts, which is the Square Circle's Relic podcast, and David Lloyd, El Presidente, the Liberator himself, he was talking about, hey, I've got a bit of a theory. What if we see Britt Baker win this match and Adam Cole win the main event, and they get a bit of a Benoit Guerrero moment in the ring at the end together? I thought that would have been a lovely thing to do. I actually think that was better than what we got in this match, because what we got in this match was Saraya getting that big moment of her winning it. But don't get me wrong, I don't think Saraya's bad. I actually used to be a fan of Saraya. I thought she was really good when she debuted in the WWE. I was there the Raw after WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans when she debuted, and she beat, was it AJ Lee for the title in a debut match? I think she's good. The thing is, I felt it a little bit too forced. Where it's the big show in England, giving her the win, giving her the title, and having all of her family coming in, and they're treating it as if it's the Hart family, they're treating it as if it's the Anoa'i family, they're treating it as like, even the Rhodes family, they're treating it like it's some kind of massive legacy thing. Now listen, I'm not against the Knight family. I'm not hating on them. I'm not trying to say that, but the way that it was kind of being pushed on us, like, wow, look at this huge moment. It was like, this isn't wrestling royalty in the UK. We don't see them as wrestling royalty in the UK. In fact, the way that sometimes they act, you see them as the opposite of wrestling royalty. Not that royalty is a good thing to be in the first place, though. So yeah, who knows? But yeah, I thought, I would have much preferred like a Toni Storm win. I would have preferred a Baker win, even if Cole wasn't to win in the main event, which he didn't. Spoiler alert. But I could have done without it, to be quite frank. Then we had Swerve Strickland and Christian Cage as he continues this career of having mad tag team matches. Remember the first time we started to see tag team ladder matches? Like, how can you do that? Tag team table matches, how can you do that? Tag team TLC, wow, this is crazy. Now he's in tag team coffin matches. Man, this is crazy. So it was against Darby Allin and Sting. Now, everyone was hyped to see Sting. Now, I've seen him a few times. I've seen him for the WWE at WrestleMania 31. I've seen him for TNA and house shows in the UK. And now I've seen him for AEW as well at the biggest wrestling show of all time. Sting, absolute legend, but would have preferred to see him back in WCW in the day, but I was too poor to go. My mate Rico I went to the show with, he actually went to see WCW back in the day. So I'm pretty sure he would have seen Sting when he saw that, but I never got the chance to see him. I'm seeing him now. Now, this match was really, really fun. Some of my friends online, Jordan Desham, a comedian friend of mine, he put that Sting was in the match of the night. He thought that this was the match of the night. I personally don't agree, but he actually had a better view than me because he was watching it on TV. I was watching it from all the way up in the nosebleed section, can barely see what's going on. So I was really enjoying some of the spots in this night. This is the kind of match where it was like, boom, spots. Although Stadium Stampede was like that earlier on in the night, this one was a bit more compact because it was all going on in the ring and around the ringside area. You could keep track of it a lot more. Enjoyable match. I wouldn't say it was above and beyond the best night like Jordan said, but I did enjoy it. Now for the match that I couldn't wait for. Chris Jericho singing himself to the ring. Judas in my mind versus Will Ospreay. You could have put Will Ospreay against virtually anyone, and this for me would have been match of the night. To see Will Ospreay in Wembley Stadium. Now, let's talk about Will for a second. Professionally, I think he may be the greatest wrestler in the world right now. For me, maybe the wrestler that I like to watch the most. Personally, I've heard certain things about him. I've only heard them. I don't know him personally, but the things that I've heard about him, it turns you off a little bit. But I cannot take away from the professional that he is and how good he is in that ring, and what a fan of him I am, of the stuff that I see in the middle of that ring. I think Ospreay is the best going today. When you put Ospreay against Chris Jericho, a massive, massive match. Jericho, very smart man, knows if he puts himself in the ring with the British guy, the Canadian versus the British guy, where have we seen that before at Wembley, eh? What a moment. What a moment. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to watch this one back. I really enjoyed it in person. I really want to watch it on the TV, seeing all the great camera angles and all the great cuts and all that stuff. I can only imagine how brilliant it was for you guys watching on TV. But yeah, I really enjoyed this in the arena. And like, to see Ospreay coming out in the middle of Wembley, I was just like, this is incredible. Then the penultimate match of the night, we had the House of Black defending the Trios titles against the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn. What a penultimate match this was. Now, everyone says that the Acclaimed, they're really fun. They're an entrance and a hand signal. Hey, as far as entrances and a hand signal go, they're really, really good. I really enjoy watching them. They're so fun as a tag team. They remind me of what it's like to be a wrestling fan. When I was a kid, I used to love the New Age Outlaws, just like Billy Gunn and the Road Dogg. They'd come to the ring together. It was all about the entrance. In the ring, enjoyed them as well, but it was all about the entrance, right? Boom, Acclaimed just like them. Billy Gunn, what a guy to have alongside them to guide them and kind of help them to get better and better and better. And as a trio, looking forward to seeing where they go next. The bar about Prince Andrew, both, that popped me. Usually these things don't pop me, but that popped me. That pops everyone in the arena. Everyone's like, whoa! I felt myself doing it as well. What a penultimate match. Good stuff, guys. Then we're on to the main event of the evening. Adam Cole, baby, versus MJF for the World Heavyweight title. Now, I love the parallels between this and the Bret Bulldog match of 92. First off, Bret Bulldog 92, good guy versus good guy who are friends, who are just fighting over who's better. Now, what's this? Is MJF versus Cole. Two good guys who are friends, who are fighting over, that's right, who's better. Also, they did like a lot of the kind of passages of play, or passages in the match, little sequences, whatever you want to call them, basically where they took them directly from that Bulldog Bret match. I really enjoyed what they did here. I liked when they did the double pin and everyone was like, whoa, no way. And then Cole was like, 5 more minutes, which when he said it as 4, that's weird. Why would he say 5 more minutes? And of course, it's so MJF can go, no, 5 isn't enough. Let's fight till we have a winner. And everyone's like, way. Like, really, really liked how they did it. I know a lot of people complained because they were like, they give us a dusty finish and all that stuff. I enjoyed it. I like how he beat him with a roll-up and just boom, a nice quick win. Because that's, again, how it kind of happened with Bulldog and Bret. I would have loved them to do the exact same finish. That would have been even better for me. But it doesn't have to be the exact same. They can also put their own little spin on it, which I felt like they did. I really enjoyed this main event. Now, all in all, if we're going to talk about overall thoughts for All In 2023 at Wembley, I can only say thank you to Tony Khan. I can say thank you to AEW and all the wrestlers for bringing this to Wembley. This was such a fantastic show. It was such a fantastic occasion. For £30, I went into Wembley and I saw the biggest wrestling show of all time. Like, even before I knew it was the biggest wrestling show, because I didn't realize until this morning when I left last night, right? When I left last night, I just knew it was the first time that they'd come back to Wembley. The first time wrestling had been at Wembley since 1992. I only started to be a wrestling fan in the summer of 1993, so I missed that. I couldn't have, even if I was a wrestling fan, 1, I was too young, and 2, my family were too poor. I never could have gone to it. I was sitting and I was like nudging my mates. My mate Hassan came from Toronto, right? He just happened to be in town. He came and watched the show with me. My mate Rick, one of my best friends, I've known him for decades, right? I'm sat talking to them both and I'm like, lads, can you imagine what it would have been like going to Bret versus Bulldog? And now can you imagine what it's like for all these kids being in there now? And what they're seeing in front of them. What an amazing event it is. Now, I'm an adult. I'm a jaded wrestling fan. I'm a little bit bored of it in general. I'll be honest with you, yeah? But I cannot lie. to be at this show, it meant so, so much. It was an incredible, incredible environment to be in, an incredible, incredible occasion. And when they announced that they're coming back next year on Bank Holiday weekend, I had mixed feelings. I had one, I love the fact that they're coming back. I love the fact that they're coming back next year and that we're going to see another wrestling show at Wembley. But I also feel like it snookers WWE a little bit because there's probably going to be like a no compete clause from Wembley where they cannot do like business with another wrestling show within a certain period, so it doesn't affect ticket sales because Wembley don't want a half sold out event either. They want it fully sold out. So if AEW are going to come in with us, right, let's do a deal with you. We'll only do a deal with you, and that's what I imagine is going to happen. What I wanted to happen is I wanted WWE to counter. I wanted to see SummerSlam. I wanted to see Money in the Bank, something like that next year at Wembley, but we're not going to get that. We're going to get AEW coming again. I'd love to see both. I just don't see both happening. I can't see two wrestling shows like this selling out. I just can't see it. It's a massive expense for people to go there. I can't see them selling out two so soon and close together. I'd love to see it. I'd love WWE to try and bring maybe Money in the Bank to Cardiff, SummerSlam to Cardiff. Try that, go head to head that way. That's the kind of thing that I would love to see, and I will, if I can, I will go to both. I would love to do that. But what do you guys think? I'd love to hear what you guys thought of the show, what you guys would like to see going forward. I'm going to do a few more of these videos. I'm going to be comparing. First of all, I've been to the two biggest wrestling shows of all time. I've been to this, and I was at WrestleMania 32, so I want to compare both. The other thing I want to compare is the other two shows that I went to. I went to Clash at the Castle, WWE Stadium show in the UK, and then I went to this, which is AEW Stadium show in the UK. I want to compare both of those as well. So I've got a few different videos going on where I want to compare and contrast and kind of show you the similarities and stuff like that. I'd love it if you guys, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button down below. Hit the like, because all that stuff, I know it's annoying when, people like me, they ask you to do these things, but for you it's free. But it does help out massively, and the more that stuff that it gets, the more I really love doing these. I mean, I love doing these videos anyway. I've not done them for a long time. I'm so buzzing to be back in front of this camera. Even if I look in a few days' time and it's like 50 views, fine by me. But thank you very much for watching. Love to your comments down below, all the subscribers, all the likes, all that stuff is greatly appreciated. It makes YouTube push it out to more people as well, which I really appreciate. Anyway, I'll be back soon with more videos. Take it easy.